Hey all, Silverleaf here, and this is the first episode of Storytime with Silverleaf, a series that I plan to upload fortnightly. Today's topic is about why I love the Elder Scrolls. So now sit back, grab a drink, and let's kick off. The Elder Scrolls. The first time I heard about it was back in high school when one of my best friends told me about some game called Oblivion that he got as a Christmas present from his grandparents. He was telling me how you could create your own character, and at first he didn't take Oblivion seriously, so he made his first character as ugly as possible. But as he progressed through the game, he began to be amazed by how much depth there was. People had their own time schedules. The land of Cyrodiil was massive and full of colour. After many hours head deep into the game, he really regretted making such an ugly creature for a character. He then told me about some really weird dude called Glartha that ran up to him in a city called Skingrad, telling him to meet behind a chapel at midnight. This then really spiked my intrigue, as my friend told me more about this eccentric elf. That same day I went to my uncle's house and told him with much excitement about this Oblivion my friend had told me about. Because I didn't have internet back then, my uncle looked up the system requirements for Oblivion to see if my old desktop could run it. Sadly, I was out of luck. Oblivion was too modern for my old desktop at the time. Back then, just as my hopes of getting my hands on Oblivion were crushed, my uncle suggested The Elder Scrolls 3: Morrowind, the prequel to Oblivion. As he showed me some gameplay and the trailer of Morrowind, my excitement was brewing. I then got Morrowind the next week and installed it on my desktop. It ran perfectly, and I was completely blown away by how advanced the game was at the time of playing it. The whole vibe and the soundtrack, orchestrated by Jeremy Soule, was and still is a poetic masterpiece. Back at school, I was telling my best friend who introduced Oblivion to me about Morrowind and the cool yet quirky adventures I had been having. He was pretty interested in Morrowind, and after that, every lunch break it became a habit to mostly talk about our recent adventures in Oblivion and Morrowind. I felt pretty sorry for our other best friend that hung out with us though, as he couldn't relate to the enthusiasm my friend and I shared for the Elder Scrolls series. My other best friend was more of a sci-fi type of guy than a fantasy type. Though, ironically, later on in my life as I got deeper into the Elder Scrolls lore, I discovered that the Elder Scrolls can be considered not only fantasy, but also sci-fi, which really blew my mind when I first found that out. Now, Morrowind was the first open-world game that I had ever experienced. Not only that, the whole land of Vardenfell was really outlandish, but that's what made it so great. To put it simply, I felt like a stranger in even more stranger lands. And as I progressed through the main story, I was hit with all sorts of interesting characters and factions. What made these factions so great was the sense of grey morality. Even when you confront the main nemesis, Daggoth in the heart of Red Mountain, and he tells you his motive, you can really see the logical reasoning behind his motive. It really makes you stop for a moment and question if you stopping him is right or wrong. Morrowind for me, even after all these years, is still an untamable beast. But if you take initiative to adventure and explore with a good noggin to unravel its mystery, you'll be set on a journey unforgettable. To this day, I still remember almost all the adventures that I have experienced in Morrowind. And that, my kin, is how my love for the Elder Scrolls began. Now over the years, I have played every Elder Scrolls game, aside from Redguard and Battlespire, due to compatibility issues. Each game holds a special place in my heart, full of memories of adventure, mystery, and plot twists that I still think about on a regular basis. No other game franchise has affected me in such a way that I would have the impulse to dedicate my life to the Elder Scrolls, and our fun community that comes with it. The lore too is satisfyingly fleshed out, and it has so much depth to it that you could talk about it in a philosophical way, and many people in the lore community do just that. I made many friends that way, and I cherish the time spent with each person who I discuss lore with. On that note, if you are interested in lore, I highly advise you to check out the Lorecast podcast, uploaded by Memospore. I'll link their channel in the description of this video. Watching their videos will surely put you on your way to becoming well educated and provide you with the street smart for the Elder Scrolls lore. And that is the end of the story. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel for more of my content, and give this video a like if you enjoyed it. I really look forward to seeing you all next week. Until then, bye for now, my friends.